Hello everyone. This is the first of several videos for walking through project number 4, and I call this project the Guitar Tunes game. The purpose of this project is to develop an application that will play a random note and from the low E string of a guitar, and each time a button is pressed, it will play a note, and the game will allow the user to hear the note and choose which note that is. So they hear the sound and choose the note that respond to that sound. If they choose the correct note, they get a point. If they choose an incorrect note, they don't get anything. And the game gives the user multiple turns, and then at the end of the game it calculates the score and keeps statistics of the highest score, lowest score, and how many games the user has played. There is a description of the requirement of what should be inside that game, and there's also a folder that has the notes, the sound file for the notes. And if you click on the link on your weekly modules and go to the project, here is the zip file for the notes, and you will need to download that zip file and add it to your project, and we will see how you can do that. There is also a file that has an overview of the app. So this is a rendering or a design or a user interface design of what the app will have. As you can see, the user comes to the first screen. They have an option to start the game, an option to view statistics from previous plays of the game, and an option to go to help. At the same time, the buttons where the user will make selections for the different notes are grayed out, so the user cannot select any of them until the game has started. When the users select the help button, they go to a help screen, and the help screen gives them some text that tells the user what the game is about, and offers training for the different sounds. So there are buttons for each note that the user will be tested on or that will play, and in the help screen the user can hear the sound of the note. So they click here, they hear the sound of the note, and then keep practicing until they feel comfortable. When they feel comfortable, they hit the back button and they come back to the start of the game, and they can start and play a game. Every time the user plays a game, the game randomly plays a sound. It grays out the start game and the statistics, and plays the sound. The buttons becomes available, and the user makes a selection. So in this example, the sound that was played was for the A sharp note, and the user selected the A sharp note. When the user selects the A sharp note, the user gets only one attempt. So once they select a button, all the other buttons become disabled. They cannot click on that. And then the game responds back, or the app responds back if it's a correct answer, displays an image, displays a text that tells the user if it's a correct answer or not, and gives the user an indication of where they are within the game. So this is saying that you have 10 turns, and this is the third one. And then the user click start game and hear the sound. Once the user makes a selection, the game will give them the response to that particular turn. Then it plays another random sound. So another random sound, and the user made a selection to G, but that was an incorrect answer. So they get an image and a text, and then what attempt they are. And the game, every time they make a selection, the game responds, and then waits a second or so, and then play another sound, starting another turn. So the user hears the second note, and they make a selection of what the second note is and if it is correct or not. The user keeps doing this until the end of the game, At the end of the game, they can click View Stats, and that takes them to another view that will have the statistics of the game. So it will give them the current score. And in this particular example, the user scored 50%, meaning that out of 10 turns, they had 5 correct answers. So that's a 50% score. It shows them and keeps track of how many times the user played the game, and every game has multiple turns. And in the example I have here, it has 10 turns. However, the project, I don't think the project limits you, so you can have less than 10 or more than 10, whatever you want. And then it keeps track of the lowest score out of those 15 games and the highest score out of all those 15 games. This is designed to be a single user app, meaning that whoever opens the app will play it. The app does not recognize does not create a profile for the user and does not connect the users across the network. But yet it will give you an opportunity to learn about scoring a game, keeping track of the score, adding the scores up across multiple plays. It will give you an insight into managing presenting a challenge to the user and measuring the user response. Here, the challenge we present to the user is play a sound and see if the user can recognize what that sound is. And then the user has an opportunity to communicate to the app the response by clicking a button in this case, and then the app gives back an evaluation or assessment of the user response to the challenge. Now, every game that you can think of works exactly the same way. You present a challenge, a way for the user to respond to the challenge, and a way for the game to communicate an assessment or evaluation of the user challenge. We're taking those same concepts, same elements that exist in every game, and presenting it here in a very simple game structure that builds on the kind of program or tools that you have already used. This game will reinforce most of what we have learned so far. There isn't really anything new to you in this game except playing a sound. Other than playing a sound, all the elements, both in the user interface or in the view, as well as in the controller, we have done those before. We will use some control statements like if statements, for loop. We have done those before. We will use, of course, sending messages to library objects. We will have multiple views and we will connect those. This will be more complex than what we have done before, but if you keep track of what you have done, this is basically builds on them and give you opportunity to understand more. I strongly advise you to do the reading before you come into here or as you go through this, but don't ignore the reading. I will upload this file that has a rendering of what the different views of the game will be like. However, you are not bound by that. I created this for this particular project because, as you can see, we have 1, 2, and 3 views in this game, and we have multiple pieces here and there. So you could easily get lost if you are not careful. But I hope that this rendering and this overview will help you to come back to it and know which view we are dealing with, what functionality we're adding, and so on and so forth. So you will see this in the walkthrough folder on Blackboard. And in the next video, we will open Xcode and start planning and building this. Before I let you go, when you create when you try to address an app like this, which this is as close to your final project as you would be. Most of your final projects will be at that level of complexity. You want to start with a rendering of what you're really thinking about, what it will look like, and then you want to organize how you start building it. Are you going to start with this view? Are you going to start with the statistics or with the help? I personally have a preference of starting from the least dependent piece and then move towards the ones that are very dependent. So for instance, view statistics, the statistics is dependent on the game because it has scores and so on and so forth. So I will leave that to the end. The help is not dependent on anything. It's a standalone module. And the help is easy. It has a text and it has some buttons that play sound. So it will give us opportunity to practice loading sound file and playing a sound file with ease. So I'm going to start with the help. This will be our first view, and you're probably going to see that in the next video. And then go to the game. And the game itself is complex. There is the concept of presenting a challenge to the user by playing a random note out of available 12 notes. So we're going to learn how to load all the notes that exist and play and randomize one of them and play that sound. And that presenting the challenge to the user. Then we're going to work on the user making a selection and how we can capture that selection, and then how we can do an evaluation and assessment of that selection and present back the user with an assessment or the result of the selection. Then we're going to learn about how we add a turn and how we continue building those pieces and managing the interface, like disabling the buttons when they are not used, and so on and so forth. So enjoy this project. It's going to be fun. Again, I want to highlight what I highlighted in the module 4 overview, that this is an extensive project. You cannot leave that till the last week or the last day. You have to build it piece by piece and spend some time every week so that it builds with you over 3-4 weeks. This is a practice to what your final will be like. So although we have a fifth project before the final, but please try to manage your time carefully and wisely as you go through this. Thank you.